And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another broadcast, our third broadcast of the night. We will be remaking the lobby, don't you worry. Lobby's gonna be remade, but welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to JEC Open. Oh my, the first JEC in a very, very long time. Of course, Showside VIP, and with me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in the chat, and by my plushies as well. Big shout out to Kuro, of course, as Kuro did, of course, just finish up Master Swan Open, MSO. Did just wrap up. We crowned our latest Master Swan Open champion, and now we are here with the JEC Open. Earlier today, of course, we were live with the KSL, with the Korean StarCraft League, and now we're here with some more Open StarCraft. Let me just quickly set things up. Un momento, as we are getting into game number one, we're going to be getting ready for ForJumy versus Moja. Let's go. We have a PvT to kick things off. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the back of yourselves. For those that are curious, what even is the JEC Open? Well, this is an open tournament. It's a bit of a one-off. The JEC Cup used to be a more frequent weekly tournament, but nowadays we've brought it back as more of an annual thing. I say we've brought it back. OSC Esports have brought it back, so big shout out to OSC for making this event a reality once again. For those that are curious as to what it stands for, JEC is Justin Elusori Chua, and if you recognize the name Elusori, then you're an old school viewer of StarCraft. Elusori was a big, I should say, competitor, participant in online events back in the day. Likewise, was also a big part of OSC Esports many years ago as well. So this is kind of in commemoration of Elusori and all the work he has done over the years for StarCraft, for OSC. And here we go, sporting in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our German Protoss player, the Green Protoss, representing the Platinum Heroes. It is ForJumy. I'll fix up the name, don't worry. Or Talahon. And sporting in the top left hand corner, we have the German Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing, I believe himself, currently teamless. It is Moja. Bam. There we go. Hold on, just setting up the overlay, the UI. That's good enough. There we go. We have our initial PvT. Again, we're here in the early rounds of the event. We'll go over the bracket once we do wrap up our initial series. Then we can jump into the bracket itself and go over all the players, all the matches, and all the would-be series lying ahead of us as well. But it's been a long day. It's been a long day, Papi, going over MSO, going over KSL, and now with JEC. 3 events back to back to back. We keep going, Papi. We keep going. Never stopping. Not here. Not on the CranKy Ducklings. Ay, ay, ay. Good start. Yeah, exactly. So just setting things up. Adjusting everything from the previous broadcast. Meanwhile, we do see Moja opening up with a standard economic opener. Going to be a ranked expand into a factory on the high ground, so we have a standard economic opener out of Moja. Meanwhile, ForJumy, back across the map, is going for a gate expand himself, gate cyber into Nexus, and we have our tech of choice. It's going to be a Stargate opener from ForJumy. Meanwhile, Moja across the map has avoided any kind of SCV scouts, and likewise has gone Marine first. So very greedy play here out of Moja. Not just an economic opener, but Moja has no idea what he's up against, and he won't for quite some time. So Moja is in the dark. He's in the dark as to the build of choice, the tech of choice as well, and is opening up defensive, or I should say a little bit in a more safer manner, as he has to with that bunker. Bunker is done just in time. Adept threatens a shade, but we are in position and we will be able to hold on to at least our natural for the time being. Hoping to deny that Adept scout. We're able to wall off. Likewise, across the map, we have our initial Phoenix. Okay, it's going to be a Phoenix-based opener here from ForJumy. And this could be the beginning of Phoenix Colossus. We could enter Phoenix Charge. We have a couple of options with how we want to compose the army itself. But for now, Phoenixes are a good way to get map control. They shut down drop play. They allow us to scout across the map and check the main base to make sure there's no crazy fast third TC. There's no 3-ax, for example. As we can see, it's going to be a 1-1-1 into Banshee. Okay. Bold move here by Moja. Banshees have been quite popular as of late in the TVP matchup. They've been very trendy. They have a lot of potential to do a lot of damage, to wreak havoc, but that's why it's how much more important for ForJumy to scout and recognize what's going on, to get detection and get in position for the Banshees. If there's no detection, this can just get out of hand, it can get out of control, and damage can be done. Oh boy. Speaking of Phoenixes, they dip in and they scout everything. They scout, they confirm, they get eyes on the tech lab on the starport, they see it researching, it could be one thing and one thing only. Cloak. Cloak is what's on the way here. Likewise, oh my god, we shot down the first Banshee. Jesus, I was like, what, 3-4 volleys and the Banshee does go down, and just like that, Moja, it's a rough start. It's a very rough start. He's gotten scattered, he's gotten shut down. Thankfully, Moja does cancel Cloak, as we're not gonna need it, not anymore. And oof, we are rushing into a fast third TC. I mean, I say fast third TC, we're rushing into the third base once we've been shut down, and that tells us that Moja plans on defending. Moja plans on pulling back and staying back home and just turtling up here, trying to establish a third base, taking a more defensive stance, and this means that ForJumy can cut corners. Means that the Protoss player can be quite greedy back at home and tech up, get a third base, get saturated. Once ForJumy does scout the third, which, oh, he will! A big scout, we pick up Marine, we don't quite get the Cyclone, but we get eyes on the CC. So now ForJumy knows he can be greedy. He knows what he can get away with. As he confirms there's no 2-base all in. Meanwhile, we do pick up a handful of SCVs. 2 SCVs going down. We get 2 SCV kills, we're just containing the opponents, we're keeping Moja pinned back at home. And across the map, what are we taking into? We spoke earlier, we had some options when it came to compositions, but it's going to be Phoenix Colossus, except the last on the way. Colossus production has begun, the first Colossus is about to pop out. And by the time Moja does move out across the map, we should be safe and sound. We should have a secure army here with Colossus production. Likewise, Twilight Council working towards charge. ForJumy is looking quite comfortable. Like, this is a really solid start here for ForJumy. There's not really much else we could say that could otherwise go his way. And it's going to be on Moja here to try to bounce back. I mean, on the one hand, we're working towards a third base. Once we get it up and running, then we can start being active on the map. We can move out. We can go for... I was going to say drop play. With this many Phoenixes, we really can't. I mean, it's just risky. Very risky to move out with these medevacs and move out with these drops. Still going to be stuck at home. Oh! As we do pick off one of the Phoenixes. Not bad. But alas, we get even more SCVs. The Ghost Academy has been spotted, is delayed. But finally, the third base is getting up and running. Moja is building back up. We're getting there. Meanwhile, as ForJumy scouts the third, we're getting a fourth. ForJumy is getting a fourth base, setting up a proxy to reinforce across the map to harass, to go for these run-bys. Run-bys with those charge lots as charged on the way. Double upgrades, double forge here from Jumy. And again, it makes sense just because we know that the Terran player is going to be stuck at home. We can afford to tech up in such a way and go for double upgrades at a time. We can be greedy, Pat. Sorry, just sneezing. We can be greedy. Phoenixes, again, still just keeping Moja busy. And soon the question becomes, who moves out? Who does move out first? Do we have ForJumy trying to lay siege upon the third base? Or does he strike when Moja attempts to take a fourth? That's the question. We already have 3 Colossus. At this point, we can begin Disruptor production. Disruptors can be on the way. Speaking of, yep, second Robo. That is going to be for double Disruptor. We can then take our gases at the 4th base. But finally, Moja is moving out, and that's quite an army. We have EMPs. Good EMPs on the Colossus. We don't have much of a buffer. The Colossus looking a little bit exposed. And can we get on top of them? Zeltek coming to reinforce, and it looks like ForJumy, he does cut back in time. A little bit of miscontrol there, targeting the rocks for a moment, but despite that, we're still breaking through. Again, a very close fight. You can see that ForJumy barely had enough to keep on pushing, and now here come the reinforcements, and ForJumy is looking to break through and get on top of that third base. Behind this, ForJumy taking a 5th expansion. 5th base on the way. Disruptor production as well. Oh, the Colossus! The juggling! Oh my god! ForJumy! The juggling is on point. We save the Colossus, solid EMP, but GG gets called and ForJumy snowballs out of control and takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Solid game 1 here from Jumy. Very impressive. Like, honestly, was pretty in control for the entirety of game number 1. One moment. There we go. Got you covered. But was pretty in control for the majority of game number 1 there, and yeah, that was a pretty solid performance. But it was just a really rough start from our Terran player, again, to open up in such a way to open up Cloak Banshees, I almost said Glaven Ups, to open up Cloak Banshees and to be shut down and to be forced to transition and get into a third base. Moja was in a rough position and was forced to relinquish all map control. And we saw how much freedom ForJumy had as a result. Also, I don't really know what Talahon means. I'm very confused. Apparently, it's a new meme, relatively new. God, these Zoomers and their lingo. God damn it. I'm shaking my head. But big shout out to Jade of God, Pappy God. Thank you so much for resubscribing to me, my goat. Thank you so much for resubbing. We do appreciate the support. Big shout out to Jade of course, big part of the community alongside without Jadoff, we wouldn't have so many of these little features that we have that we do use for the channel. Things like the predictions, which I have not used yet. Hold on. Speaking of, I got you covered. Predictions are now open for the series, but here we go. We're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Site Delta, we have our German Protoss player, the Green Protoss, representing the Platinum Heroes, leading the series 1-0. It is ForJumy. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the German Terran player, the Red Terran, representing himself, currently teamless. Down in the series, looking to bounce back. It is Moja. Let us go. Some German on German action here, and the first game was looking quite dominant from ForJumy, but again, a lot of that did come down to the builds of choice, and it was just a really rough game there from Moja. We have seen far better from him at Home Story Cup and in other events as well, and I want to believe that Moja can bounce back here and can threaten ForJumy. But now though, we're going to be settling in. Once again, economic opener by our Terran player. It's going to be a Rax into CC, into Expand. Is going to be the plan here. Yeah, there's the command in the chat. There you go. As back at home ForJumy, just going for the Gate Cyber Expand, setting up his own Nexus. And so far, it looks like the same build 2 games in a row. Interesting. Very interesting here from Moja. What I'm referring to, as we do get a kill on the probe, is we're going for a Rax Expand into Marine, no SCV Scout. So once again, 2 games in a row, no SCV Scout, no Reaper Scout either. Moja is going to be in the dark, and ForJumy is going to have a little bit more freedom early on. Now, this is not a bad map for something like a Stargate opener, which is why Moja is mixing it up. That is a second and a third Rax. Okay, 3 Rax, Mass Marine. It's going to be a stim timing here from Moja, and this can hit like a truck, and this can punish a Stargate opener. We've yet to determine the tech of choice, but as I mentioned before, Site Delta, not a bad map for something like a Stargate, just because of how wide open it is. Oh, we're going for, oh my god, the hard counter. It's going to be a Robo opener instead. Jimmy, calm down. Okay, we have a Robo thrown down ForJumy. It's a very safe opener here from the Protoss player. Now, what a Robo opener leads to is fast Colossus. Leads into a fast Bay, into a fast Colossus production, and if we get a fast Colossus, or I should say this build specifically is designed to have a Colossus out in time for the sim timing and to shut down a Bio push. And that's exactly what Moja's up to. So, yeah, ForJumy reading this very nicely, very well. Hallucination moving out across the map to get a read on what's going on. Once we confirm the mass ranks, then the Protoss player can respond with a fast bay. Oh boy. And here comes that Hallucination. The Adeptal shutdown was forced back earlier. And we got a full scout. We see everything in the main base. We confirm every single ranks. The stim being upgraded, the combat shields as well. ForJumy is fully aware of the stim timing. And back at home, we should be responding with a bay. For now, though, we're getting into extra gateways. Immortal production has begun just to be safe and sound. Oh, had begun for a moment there. ForJumy is going to be getting into his third Nexus, and there we go, Immortals on the way. No bay yet, which is interesting from our Protoss player, as we are getting ready for that move out. Again, this is still a very defensive opener here from Jumy, and we will at least have some Immortals. But yeah, ideally we would be working towards Colossus as well. Until then, here comes that move out. Stim is going to finish up in a couple of seconds. And we'll see if ForJumy can defend against it. I mean, the Immortal will help against some Marauders, that is true. Force Field is going to be nice as well. ForJumy is getting ready for the push that he is aware is on the way. Shield batteries are finishing up. And we'll see if he can shut this down. We shall see. Again, it's going to come down to the Force Fields. And can we slice up the army? We can. Yeah, and just like that, a good chunk of Marines do go down. That's going to be 4 Marines falling. A very strong start here from Jumy. Shield batteries done as well. We do see Moja rotating, and ForJumy keeps up with the rotation. Second Immortal's on the way. ForJumy doesn't chase, and he's fine. ForJumy is now getting his third base saturated. Moja back at home. Third CC's on the way. Moja's trying to build up and get into his own third. Regardless, this initial build from Moja didn't really come to pass. Again, ideally he was hoping for a Stargate. He was hoping that it was going to be a Stargate opener into Phoenixes. That was not the case. As a result, ForJumy was so well prepared for this. I had assumed that it was going to be for fast Colossus, but instead ForJumy took a different approach. Instead went for Immortal production with some force fields, with some sentries. Still dealt with the main army. Didn't shut it down as hard, but did force it back, and we'll see if Moja can try to work with a secondary timing here. The Observer has arrived. We'll get an eye on any kind of move out. And what's interesting to me is that ForJumy is still not going for the Bay. Despite the opener, despite the Robo start, with rushing into charge loads into +1 armor as well, which of course will help out the charge loads against the Bio Army. But yeah, we are delaying splash damage by quite a bit. Oh, and even when it comes to the splash damage of choice, Storm. Okay. ForJumy taking a very different approach here, which I appreciate. I appreciate that ForJumy, you know, he's spreading his wings, he's diversifying, he's trying out other things, and yeah, this time as opposed to game 1, no Colossus, Storm. Now, the worrisome thing is, we already have a Ghost Academy on the way. Moja's working towards EMPs and Ghost production, and EMPs are going to be even more impactful here in this game. EMPs are ideal against Charge Lot, Archon, Storm, most things Protoss. Speaking of, there's that Storm on the way. So we'll see how we do engage, as both players are getting their economies up and running. No 4th Nexus yet here from Jumy. The Observer did get eyes, or does get eyes on the saturation, on the transferring workers. And the lack of 4th base is interesting. The Observer is sniped. Nice scan there from Moja. Snipe does shut it down. And it looks like ForJumy is going to be pushing with Storm. Storm is going to finish up just in time here with, I believe, the move out. Going for Hallucination Prism. You love to see it. And yeah, we have 4 High Templar. 4 High Templar. They're already morphed in. They're in the Prism. And we're soon going to be pushing. And we'll see how good the Storms are going to be. Let's go. Let us go. The army is split up. So we're already pre-split. The Storms are going to be a little bit less impactful because of that. But here come the Storms. Up. Up. We got the first one. Oh my god. Yeah, massive Storm initially. We have 3 more High Templar. The Prism is getting low. And Moja can come in from behind. We have a flank set up. Yeah, we're coming in for the surround. The prism is exposed. High Templar, no! High Templar, they go down. Massive pickup. And we come in for the full surround. And ForJumy has almost nothing left. Has to recall back home. No more storms, no more splash damage. Yeah, massive engage from Moja. And ForJumy, he's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble. He lost every single High Templar. And without storms, how do we stop the army? We do have 2 more High Templar morphing in. They need more time, though. They need a little bit more time for storms. And Moja's not giving it to him. Scans ahead of time, headed for the 4th base. Oh, takes down the Archon. Yeah, takes down 2 more High Templar, and it looks like we have to give up on the 4th base. The Nexus is going to go down. And we can keep going. We can't keep pushing at the same time, though. Ooh, Zealot Run by hits the 3rd base. Does distract the Terran. It's going to be cleaned up. We can see Moja rotating over towards the 3rd. Doesn't go for the natural. You know what this means? This means that ForJumy has enough time to get Storm. We have 2 storms. 2 storms are available. We need to make them count. And even with 2 storms, it's still an uphill battle. Overcharge is popped. The pre-split! Let's go! The pre-spread there from Moja. The storms, they tickle the army. They don't do much. And here come the reinforcements. We get 8 probe kills. We can rotate once again. And we have no storms remaining. We need more time. We do need more time here. As Moja ignores the 3rd base, threatens the natural. ForJumy trying to buy time, preserving those High Templar. We just stim on forward anyway. Okay, we stim on it. We go for the Immortals, and there's just almost nothing left. There's no buffer. There's no support. GG, and Moja ties up the series 1-1. We're going to the ace match. Let's go. Whew. GG. We are headed all the way to game number 3. Again, that was an insane surround from Moja to have a pre-split army. He was already set up for, I mean, it looked like he was set up, not quite for a surround, but for a split push, maybe going towards the 3rd base and the 4th at the same time. And ForJumy happened to walk into him, happened to push in at that moment. And with that surround, we completely shut ForJumy down. Now we're going all the way to game 3. It all ends here, and this could go either way. Oh boy. Could go either way here. Meanwhile, the rest of the bracket is likewise currently underway. We have some updates coming in. We'll go over the updates once we wrap up the series. Looks like we have our final map. It's going to be on PostU. I was not expecting that. Okay. We go. You can hear the beeps. We have our lobby. PostU is going to be coming up next, and I'm curious how Moja will adapt here. We have seen the same opener time and time again, but some different follow-ups here from Moja. We'll see how greedy he wants to be on PostU. Let's go. Let us go. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of PostU, we have the German Protoss player. German and Protoss representing the Platinum Heroes being forced into the ace match. Can he bring it back? Can he bounce back? It is ForJumy. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the German Terran player, the Red Terran. Bringing it back, forcing the ace match. Can he keep up the momentum? Can he keep going? It is Moja. Let's go. Let us go. So we are going to be settling into the ace match here. Now, as a reminder, every game so far, we have seen that Moja has been skipping SCV scouts. No SCV scouts, no Reaper scouts either. What I was about to say, if we wanted to be a little bit greedier here, we have seen plenty of Terran players go for CC first. CC first on PostU, but we can see that Moja, he's not taking that risk. Still just going for a Rax expand. Still an economic opener, but not as greedy as other players might attempt to go for. Regardless, economic here from Moja. We'll see if he skips the Reaper once again as well. Meanwhile, speaking of greed, it's just going to be a gate expand from ForJumy. I mean, technically it is a little bit greedy. Typically, the standard opener in this matchup is a gate cyber expand, just to go for a faster adept. This time, we're going to be delaying the adept and delaying the cyber core in favor of the faster nexus. Which makes sense, just because post-youth you are very safe and secure on two bases. There's a single ramp leading into both your natural and your main, and you also have those gold minerals as well, so it's very tempting to be as greedy as possible at the start of post-youth. Likewise, there's also a gold base that could come into play. True, we'll keep an eye on that, but it's going to be quite difficult to claim a gold as at least a third in this matchup. We'll see if either one does try to go for that. Meanwhile, Moja, for the first time this series, goes for the Reaper. Okay. Here we go. We are going for that Reaper Scouts. And we have confirmation. It is going to be a Stargate opener from ForJumy. And Moja will confirm. We'll confirm what's going on. Gets eyes on the Stargate. Dipping into the mineral line and can also pick off a probe. Not too bad. One probe goes down. Again, the adept was not quite ready. As you recall, the cyber core was delayed. We do delay mining time at the natural as well. Not bad here from Moja. Not bad at all. So he's going to be rotating around. Behind this, getting into his own factory, into a starport, 111. Do appreciate it. And again, Moja did confirm the Stargate is aware of the potential Phoenix opener. Technically could be an Oracle, but is going to be the Phoenix. A little bit more common. And bold move, we're actually opening up Widowmine. And potentially setting up for some drop play. Okay. It's not the easiest to get Widowmines past Phoenixes, but not impossible. Just a risky maneuver here from Moja. Would you have the first Widowmine borrowed here in the natural base, in the mineral line? Likewise, second Widowmine's on the way alongside Viking, not Medevac. Okay. Okay, I see you. I assumed it was going to be a Medevac for a drop, but no, it is going to be the Viking instead. So just very defensive play here from Moja. Doesn't really intend on moving out, is more concerned with catching the Phoenixes. Is more concerned with catching them, as second Widowmine has burrowed as well in the mineral line itself. And ForJumy's gonna have to be very careful here when it comes to busting in. Does have to be careful. Phoenixes have arrived. They're met by the Viking at least. Gonna be zoned away. Fast third CC here from Moja. So 1-1-1 into a third CC. This is the fastest third CC we've seen so far this series. So very greedy here from Moja. Likewise, we do see ForJumy this time, no storm. I appreciate it. We're done with the storm. We're done with the High Templar. Robot. We're going into the Bay. We're going into Colossus. Third base being taken as well. So this is going to be Feast Colossus once again from Jumy. The Lighter! Boom! Big connection. Not bad. When the match shot goes off, I love the rotation as well. So Widowmine does re-borrow on the right-hand side. Again, so it's a nice little detail here, but again, now ForJumy, he's a little bit more wary of going into the main base mineral line because of the Widowmine shots, and instead he rotates over towards the right-hand side. Another Widowmine. Almost ready! Up! It's gonna go up! Oh my god, two Phoenixes! Two Phoenixes go down, and just like that, Moja shuts down the aggression of ForJumy. Ay, ay, ay. Two Phoenixes for one SCV. And again, we rotate. Like, it's so important to keep your Widowmines moving and to keep them, to keep kind of rotating over to make sure the Protoss does not know where they are. So very nice movement here from Moja. And ForJumy has had a rough start. It's been a very rough start. I mean, at least is getting his third base up and running and working towards Colossus, but the map control that ForJumy should have with these Phoenixes isn't really there anymore. We're down to 2, soon to be 3 Phoenixes, and because of that, drop play is soon going to be available for Moja. Usually he'd be contained, but with so few Phoenixes, we can soon move out. There's not that much here to really punish Moja. That's what I'm saying. Proxy gateways being set up for run buys. Bases, once again, they threaten the bases. We have to be careful. There are Widow Mines set up at the natural. Phoenix is once again deterred. Gonna be zoning them away. More gateways in production. We can see that this time, ForJumy isn't as greedy as he was in game number 1, if you recall. It's only one forge. Only one forge, only one upgrade at a time. We're getting into charge lots, phoenixes, colossus production, building up a death ball of an army. But it's not going to be as robust as it was in game 1, just because the early game hasn't been as secure here for ForJumy. And this eventual move out is going to hit like a truck. That's 5 tanks. That's 5 tanks. That's a lot of tanks. Oh my god. Ghost Academy is almost done. Getting into Ghost. And once we have EMPs, we can move out across the map. Did I say 5 tanks? 6. So 7. Oh my god. Usually that's a little bit of diminishing returns and we stop at around 4 to 5 tanks. But no, we just keep going. Ay, ay, ay. Against a charge lot heavy composition, I am concerned. Especially against charge lots, you would usually switch into Widow Mine production, just because they can be a little bit more efficient against mass charge lot. So again, I'm a little bit concerned here with this army composition, but there's still a lot of firepower available. A lot of potential here with 7 tanks. 8 tanks. We just keep going. I'm really not used to it. Again, this tank heavy style feels really old school. Like this heavy like biotank style, we saw it's prevalent in the meta, especially in the Korean scene a couple of years ago. I'm referring to like 2020, 2021 era of StarCraft. It's something that you just don't really see in modern StarCraft anymore. But okay, Moja, he's cooking. Meanwhile, Zelsay down on top of the army. The tanks are on siege. The tanks are on siege. 1 tank already going down, and we catch out the Bio army. The Colossus going ham. And the Terran army, this is just not the ideal fight. So that's 3 tanks behind this, and we're getting some of the Colossus. Oh my god! It's one of those things where, even if you get caught unsieged, mate, he had 8 tanks. It's fine. Like, some of them will survive anyway. Nova's going off. Oh! Massive. The pickups! Oh my god! Despite that, tanks are going down. It looks like we will clean this up. And the charge lots, they put in a lot of work. Moja barely has an army standing, still wants to keep going, and is so close to breaking ForJumy. So close to breaking him. The Colossus looking very low. Novas go up. They don't connect. ForJumy a little bit trigger happy there. Did waste his Novas. And the tanks are coming. Tanks are getting within range of the 4th base. Probes are going down. Disruptors are about to reset. We have 3 disruptors, 3 Novas. Can we engage those tanks? Can we connect with the tanks themselves? Oh, barely not. Nova goes off, Cells from behind. But the Colossus are going down, and without the Colossus, do we really have anything left over? Not really. There's 2 Stalkers, and we can stim one forward. We can land the Vikings, and we can try to get on top of those disruptors. Not quite. Moja waiting for the opportune moment, does get 1, gets 2, gets 3, gets all 3 disruptors. He's still making tanks. Oh my god. Just doesn't stop. Just non-stop tank production. Liberators as well behind this, and Moja, he's breaking through. Yeah, the freedom is here. The freedom has arrived. And it looks like Moja is going to be able to break the 4th base, and more than just that, break ForJumy. There's just not much left over. We have 1 disruptor coming in, and we need a miracle Nova to hold on. And even then it might not be enough. Disruptor comes in, Nova goes up. Up! Does not get the connection. Moja able to stim away in time. And that was all we had left. And ForJumy knows that he's going for a base trade. He cannot fight the main army, sending everything across the map. And the base trade has begun. Now, on the one hand, there's a hidden base. There is a base on the right-hand side, which has not been scouted. Oh my god, massive connection! Nova goes off. Not bad. At the same time, ForJumy trying to bust up the ramp into the main base where we have Liberators in position. We can at least lay siege upon the third. And the third base is going to go down. At the same time, the main base is under fire. The main base has been broken. And we're going to depower everything in the main. And can ForJumy break the main base of Moja? He's going to try, blinks in. But he gets punished. Yeah, breaking this position, it's not going to be possible. Not with these two Liberators. Moja is secure. And I can't say the same for ForJumy. Going for DTs? I mean, in a base trade makes sense. Going for the Dark Templar. I like the idea behind it, but alas, wasn't able to quite make it work. The Dark Shred went down. We had a skin available. There is another skin. And we do shut down both DTs. And there it is. GG gets called. There's just no way up the ramp. And Moja with the comeback. With the reverse sweep, we'll take the series 2-1, advancing on to the next round. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, Moja will take the series. Very impressive play here, especially in game number 3. That felt like Moja was really getting into his own. Game 1 and game 2 were a little bit more back and forth, and there was definitely potential, especially on side Delta, for ForJumy to make that Storm build work, but the surround was brutal. Likewise, in this game, the Phoenix opener did fall in its face, and Moja, it just snowballed out of control. I wasn't fully sold on the mass tank composition with 8 tanks, as we saw, like, I think 5 tanks died immediately. Like, a lot of tanks went down before the fight really started, but it was one of those moments where even though we lost 5 tanks, we still had 3 tanks. Because the tank count was so high, we still had a handful of tanks behind it, and that was just so much damage in the back line. And GG, Moja does advance on. And we have some catching up to do.